Hi, I'm Mrs. Rocket from Reckless Splendors, and welcome to Musings from Rocket's Cellar. As you can imagine, living with John, Mr. Rocket, we've had some really amazing wine tasting experiences. And I want to shout out to our favorite wine tasting companions, Uncle Ron and Karen. Hey guys, Uncle Ron's only 86, so we have quite a few years of wine tasting together still to do. And we have so much fun with them. We've had so many wonderful experiences. Gosh, from Péjus to Vingay to Bouchain to just amazing wineries. And we're so lucky to live in Northern California where there are so many to choose from. And our other favorite wine tasting companion is Alexandra. And so, hey, Alexandra, good to see you. I wanted to share with you a couple of my favorite wine tasting experiences. If you have gone wine tasting with us before, you have heard these stories. I still crack up from both of them. The first one I want to talk about happened at De La Montaña. It was just John and I. We were up in Dry Creek area, north of Sonoma, I think, and at Healdsburg, like that area in Northern California. And it was just John and, we had gone to another winery beforehand, and we had asked, where should we go for our next winery? And the guy called up De La Montaña and said, hey, I'm sending over this guy from Reckless Splendors, and they're gonna wine taste. So we got there. No one else was there in the winery. The guy, in fact, put aside his Subway sandwich to pour wine for us. And we're tasting them, and there was this one wine where I was like, do I get a hint of chicken shit? And the guy, the poor guy, he's like, really? You smell that? I'm like, yeah. And he said, what happened is that year they had just happened to have aerial photographs taken of their property, and they captured the neighbor who was growing alfalfa, spraying chicken manure fertilizer, and it just happened to waft onto their vineyards. And so they said they did everything in their power to blend out this chicken poop smell. But see, he said, he's like, wow, you've really got I just touched the microphone. Hope that's okay. He's like, you really have an amazing nose that you would smell that. So we were there for a long time. We tried all their wines. It was really fun, good wine. And we ordered one bottle to buy, and it was of this chicken shit wine. And because Jimbo Brown, one of the other Reckless Splendors, he grew up in France, and where terroir is a very prized taste. I actually happen to also like wines that have that poop smell, that has the terroir. Am I saying it right? And so anyway, we bought this wine for Jim, and the guy was ringing it up, and he's standing over there pushing the numbers in, and he's shaking his head. He's like, I can't believe that out of all the wines I poured you today, you bought the one that tastes like shit. And that is just one of my favorite wine tasting stories. But my real fun wine tasting story, and I know, like I said, those of you who have wine tasted with me have heard this. When John first joined the Reckless Splendors, when it was still known as Fat Cat Vintners, we were invited down by some friends to Woodside Winery down in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Like I said, we're so lucky to live in Northern California. There's wineries everywhere. And it was Woodside Winery. And our friends were on a bicycle ride, and that ended at Woodside for some barrel tasting. And our friends were late, so we just went in and got in line and did the barrel tasting. And we get to the front of the line, and the winemaker was this great guy. He had just come back from Italy, and he had made some biscotti for everyone. I'm not a big fan of biscotti, but everyone else was enjoying it. And we get to the front, and like I said, John was a brand new winemaker. Rocket was a brand new winemaker. And he asked the guy, so how often do you rack? And my face, I know my mouth dropped open and my eyes got big. And I just looked at him. I was like, did you just ask him how often he whacks? And John and the guy started laughing. And the winemaker looks at John and he says, Well, to answer your question about once every 6 months, and he looks at me and he says, to answer your question about once a day. So I'm so embarrassed. I still get red. My eyes still tear up because I'm still so embarrassed by this exchange. And so we get, he's giving wine in the wine thief, and we get our wine and we get back in line and we're coming around. And anyway, it was so embarrassing, but still, it made for a really good wine tasting story. So that's it for today from Musings from Rocket Cellar. And if you ever go to Woodside, they rack about once every 6 months.